All right, let's dive into some Spanish grammar today.
Sounds good.
We're tackling a tricky construction, at least for learners. It's the Estar plus gerundio combo.
Right?
We've got this YouTube video tutorial as our guide.
Okay.
It's actually made for bilingual Spanish speakers.
Interesting.
But I think it's got some insights for anyone learning Spanish.
I bet.
What really caught my attention, it's more than just direct translation from English.
Yeah.
Like, it's about how Spanish speakers show actions happening right now. But there's this whole other perspective on time and verbs embedded in it.
Absolutely.
It's like how they experience the world,
It is. It really is.
So we might think Spanish just has a present continuous tense, like English.
Right, like we just tack on an ing.
Exactly. But the video says that's kind of a myth.
Yeah, it's not that straightforward.
So what's going on then?
Well, Spanish uses this thing called a periphrastic verb.
Oh, wow.
A periphrastic verb.
Okay. That sounds complicated.
It's a fancy way of saying it's a phrase. Okay.
That acts like a single verb to get a meaning across.
Gotcha.
Like Estar and the gerund, they team up.
Kind of like a dynamic duo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They work together to create this dynamic meaning.
All right, so before we get to Estar, let's talk gerunds for a sec.
Sure.
Probably everyone knows how to form them already, but
Yeah, but there's a little twist.
there's a quirk the video points out that's
Right.
worth looking at again.
It can trip people up, for sure.
So to make a gerund, our pair verbs, like hablar, to talk, they get an ando ending.
Right. So, hablando.
Easy enough. But with and air verbs, things get a bit more interesting.
A little trickier, yeah.
So instead of ando, like you might expect, they use endo.
Right.
So saber, to know, becomes sabiendo.
Yep.
And salir, meaning to leave, becomes saliendo.
That's it.
It's those little things that make language fun, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Those unexpected turns.
Keep you on your toes.
Okay, so we've got our gerunds ready.
Time to bring in a star and see how this Estar plus gerundio magic happens.
The magic formula.
Exactly. So how does it work?
Okay, so you start with your subject,
Got it.
then add a conjugated form of estar.
Which means to be.
Right.
Okay.
Next comes your gerund.
The one we just prepped.
Exactly. And sometimes you might add a complement, depending on what you're saying.
Like a little extra info?
Uh-huh.
So how does it look in a real sentence?
Okay, so the video uses this example. Yo estoy comiendo carne,
Okay.
which means I am eating meat.
So it really does mirror that English present continuous structure,
It does.
but it really gives you that sense of the action happening, right?
It does.
It's not just, I eat meat.
Right. It's happening right now.
It's like, I'm in the middle of enjoying this steak.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay, and then another example,
Juan está lavando la ropa.
which means,
John is washing the clothes.
and again, it's not just a statement of fact.
Yeah.
It's like John is right now washing the clothes.
You get
So this is where it starts to get really interesting, right?
it. Is.
It's not just grammar anymore. It's about how Spanish speakers conceptualize time and action.
It is. It really is.
And the video even says there's no true present continuous in Spanish.
Right. It's not a one-to-one thing with English.
So it's more about emphasizing the ongoing nature of something,
Exactly.
which suggests a totally different way of experiencing the present moment.
Yeah.
Wow, this is blowing my mind.
It's a whole other way of looking at it.
A star plus gerundio isn't just a rule. It's like a peek into a different way of thinking about time.
Totally.
This is why I love these deep dives.
Me too.
They always take us to unexpected places.
They do. They really do.
But before we get too philosophical here, let's look at how to form negative sentences and questions with estar plus gerundio.
All right. Good idea.
So negatives first. How do we do that?
You just put no before a star.
Simple enough.
Makes sense, right?
Okay, so yo estoy comiendo carne becomes yo no estoy comiendo carne.
Yeah.
Okay, what about questions?
Well, you can change the word order around.
Yeah.
Like, estás comiendo carne?
I see.
Or you can start with a question word.
Oh, okay.
Like, ¿qué estás comiendo?
So both ways are good.
Yeah. They're both common.
All right, so we've covered the basics.
There's a foundation.
But why should anyone care about all this?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that.
This isn't just about passing a Spanish test, right?
No, not at all.
But what's the bigger picture?
Well, it's about sounding more natural when you speak Spanish.
Right, like a native speaker.
Exactly. And it's also about understanding these subtle ways that languages express the flow of time.
So we're getting a deeper understanding of Spanish.
We really are.
So where does this all leave us with estar plus gerundio?
Well, we're just scratching the surface here.
There's more to uncover.
Much more.
We've laid the groundwork. But now we need to explore those nuances.
Exactly.
The cultural implications, the deeper layers of meaning.
All that good stuff.
This is where it gets really exciting.
It does.
So stay tuned, everyone.
We'll be back.
We're going to take this deep dive to a whole new level.
Let's go. Welcome back. Are you ready for more Estar plus gerundio?
You bet I am.
Okay, good, because we're going to see how it works in real life.
Perfect. Love that.
I know you do.
It's one thing to know the rules, but seeing it in action, that's what makes it click.
Makes it real, yeah.
So let's jump in.
All right, let's imagine you're at a party and you see your friend dancing.
Okay, I can picture that.
You could say, Maria está bailando, meaning Maria is dancing.
It really captures the moment.
It does.
Much better than just Maria dances.
So much more vivid, right?
Totally. Like I'm right there at the party.
You got it.
Okay, what about another scenario?
Sure. Imagine calling a friend. You want to know what they're up to?
Like right at that moment.
Exactly.
You have, ¿qué estás haciendo?
What are you doing?
And they might say, estoy estudiando, I am studying.
Or maybe estoy cocinando, I'm cooking. It shows how estar plus gerundio is used in everyday Spanish, you know?
Like it's not just some grammar rule in a textbook.
Exactly.
It's how people actually speak.
Absolutely.
It's like you're learning to think like a Spanish speaker, not just speak the language.
It is. It really is.
You know, it reminds me, the video made a point of saying that estar plus gerundio is technically a periphrastic verb.
Yeah.
Right? Not a true present continuous tense.
Not exactly like in English.
Because in English, we just throw on that ing.
Makes it easy.
But in Spanish, it's combining those two words.
Star and the gerund.
It's a different approach.
It highlights how Spanish approaches ongoing actions in a unique way.
Not just a suffix, it's this whole verb construction.
Yeah, a different way of thinking about it.
I wonder if that says something about Spanish culture. Using a periphrastic verb.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, some linguists think it reflects a focus on the present moment.
Like savoring the action.
Not just the outcome.
So it's not just I'm eating, it's about that experience of eating. Wow, I never thought about it like that.
It's like Spanish is saying, slow down, appreciate the process.
Mind blown. Grammar isn't just rules, it's a window into how a culture sees the world.
It really is.
Okay, but the video also said that choosing between simple present and estar plus gerundio, it's not always black and white.
Right. Sometimes it depends what you want to emphasize.
So you could use either, but the meaning changes slightly.
The nuance, yeah.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, so you could say, leo un libro, which just means I read a book.
Simple, a habit.
Right.
But if I wanted to say, I'm currently reading, like right now.
Then you'd say, estoy leyendo un libro.
To paint that picture.
Exactly.
That's where learners get tripped up, right?
It can be tricky for sure.
It's not just knowing the rule, it's knowing when to use it.
That's the art of language.
And that's where immersion comes in.
Listening to native speakers, getting a feel for it.
It's like dancing. You know, you can learn the steps, but you got to feel the rhythm.
I love that analogy.
Okay, but the video also mentioned common mistakes learners make.
Oh yeah, we all fall into those traps.
Tell me about it.
One big one is using estar plus gerundio with verbs that describe states, not actions.
Okay, like ser, to be, or tener, to have.
You got it.
Those usually stick with the present tense.
Right, so you'd say, soy feliz, I am happy.
Not estoy siendo feliz.
Exactly.
Same with tengo hambre.
Yeah.
I am hungry.
Not estoy teniendo hambre.
Okay, so it's about recognizing which verbs work with that ongoing action.
That's the key.
And then there's conjugating estar correctly. It's irregular, right?
It can be tough, yeah.
And then remembering which gerunds take undo and which take undo.
Lots to keep track of.
So any tips from the video for sounding more natural with estar plus gerundio?
They suggest paying attention to the rhythm of native speakers.
The music of the language?
Exactly. How the words flow together.
But what about those filler words?
Oh, yeah, those little expressions.
Like pues, bueno, even just
It makes your Spanish sound more natural, less robotic.
More like you're actually thinking in Spanish.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's where I get confused. The video says sometimes English uses present continuous, but Spanish doesn't.
It's true. It can be counterintuitive.
Like in English, we might say, I am thinking about you.
But in Spanish, you'd probably just say, pienso en ti.
Using the present tense.
Exactly. You have to be careful with those direct translations.
It's not about word for word, it's about the meaning.
That's the heart of it.
This is why language learning is so fascinating, right?
It's a journey of discovery.
And it seems like our estar plus gerundio journey is coming to an end.
Almost. But you know what? Before we wrap up,
What's that?
I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier, that idea about how estar plus gerundio might connect to how Spanish speakers perceive time.
This is where it gets deep.
Right, we talked about actions happening right now.
But what if right now means something different in different cultures?
That's the question.
So learning estar plus gerundio, it's not just grammar, it's understanding a whole different view of time.
It might be, yeah.
That's incredible.
It makes you think, right?
What if time isn't this universal thing?
Maybe it's experienced differently in different cultures.
So Spanish speakers with estar plus gerundio, maybe they have a more fluid sense of now.
It's a fascinating possibility.
Wow, it's like language isn't just for communication.
It's a window into how we think.
How we make sense of the world.
It's amazing.
So for our listener who's diving deep into estar plus gerundio,
what would you tell them?
It's not just about conjugating verbs. It's about opening yourself up to a new way of experiencing the world.
That's beautiful.
Pay attention to how Spanish speakers use it. In conversations, in movies, in songs.
Notice how they create that sense of immediacy, that present moment.
Become a language detective.
I love that.
And remember, language learning is a process.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes, to experiment.
Those stumbles, they can lead to the best discoveries.
They really can.
It's in those aha moments that we really start to get it.
You're so right.
And speaking of aha moments, I think we've reached the end of our estar plus gerundio deep dive.
I think so too.
It's been such a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise, always a good time.
And to our listener, I hope this has made you curious.
Keep exploring Spanish. There's so much to discover.
Until next time.
See you then.
So we were just talking about how estar plus gerundio might give us a clue about how Spanish speakers think about time.
Yeah, it's like it unlocks a new way of understanding things.
Like maybe Spanish speakers have a more fluid sense of now, you know?
It's not just a point in time, but this longer present moment where the action's happening.
Right, exactly.
It makes me think about cultures that see time as cyclical, not linear.
Oh, interesting.
Like maybe their language reflects that different understanding of how time flows.
So learning Spanish, it's not just vocab and grammar. It's like stepping into a different cultural view of time itself.
I think that's a really powerful idea.
It makes you question your own assumptions about time, you know?
How we divide it up, how we think about the past, present, future.
Estar plus gerundio has become like this portal.
To a different way of being.
A different way of experiencing the world.
It really has.
So for our listener who's on this estar plus gerundio journey,
what would you say is the key takeaway?
I'd tell them to really pay attention to how Spanish speakers use it.
In everyday life.
In conversations, movies, music, you know.
Notice how they use it to bring you into that present moment.
To highlight the action unfolding.
Like you're becoming a language detective.
Looking for clues.
Uncovering the secrets.
And remember, language learning, it takes time.
It's a process for sure.
Don't be afraid to try things out.
To make mistakes along the way.
Those mistakes, those are where you learn.
It's true.
It's those aha moments that make it click.
Absolutely.
And speaking of aha moments, I think we've reached the end of our estar plus gerundio deep dive.
It seems we have.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
The pleasure was all mine. I always enjoy our deep dives.
And to our listener, thanks for joining us.
We hope you've learned something new about Spanish.
And maybe even about yourself.
Until next time.
Keep learning and keep exploring.